Hello learners, welcome to the MOOCs course Philosophical Foundations of Education. Our video lecture will be on Module 7 and Video 1 Educational Philosophy of Froebel. After going through this discussion, you will be able to know the life and philosophy of Froebel, explain the main idea of educational philosophy of Froebel, recognize the contributions of Froebel to educational thoughts. So, while we are discussing philosophical side of the education system, then we cannot leave the Froebel's philosophy and contributions of Froebel philosophy in the field of education, because it has its significant impact on the educational system. This video lecture introduces you to the philosophy of Friedrich Froebel and his contributions to the educational field, both theoretical as well as practical. His contribution to the Western education system is one of the most prominent ones. The new education of the 19th century is based on the works of Froebel, works of Pestalozzi, and Herbert Spencer as well. Froebel's life and philosophy is influenced by the Napoleonic Wars and nationalism of Germany, and therefore has also influenced the educational thought and practices. Before going to Froebel's educational philosophy or Froebel's philosophy of life, we should know who is Friedrich Froebel. Friedrich Froebel was born in Germany on 21st April 1782. He lost his mother at the very young ages of only 9 months. His father's remarriage resulted in deprivation of parental affection. This deprivation led him to the lap of nature, and he developed a love for nature. This company of nature inspired him with a new life, which found in expression in his views about nature. His extremely unhappy childhood gave him ample opportunity for introspection. He also developed intensive sympathy for children. His father was a clergyman from whom he inherited the religious mentality also. And in the later period, it developed into idealism. Idealism philosophy we have already discussed in our previous discussion, because idealism is related with the soul, with the existence of God. At the age of 10 years, he has adopted by his maternal uncle and was admitted into a school. He was not at all interested in education, so he left school at the age of 15 years only. After working as an apprentice to a forester for 2 years, he went to the University of Jena, but could not complete his education due to some financial constraints. He started seeking work to earn his livelihood after that. First, he tried as a craftsman, but later he got a job in a school. After joining the teaching job, he realized that this was the most suited profession for him, but he also realized at the same time that the job of a teacher requires greater preparation. At the age of 20 years, he went to Pestalozzi's school in Yarden to become a teacher. He taught as well as learned the methods and principles of Pestalozzi, who was a renowned philosopher or educationist. But he didn't agree with them because of lack of clarity and concreteness of the ideas. Therefore, he migrated to Berlin for further study. His educational capacities were encouraged when he became a teacher of drawing at Frankfurt. He established a school at Kehau in the year 1817. Later, he established several schools in Switzerland. In 1851, the German government closed all the kindergartens under the impression that his schools are spreading revolutionary ideas, which was actually extreme democratic nature of his education. However, he envisaged that his ideas can have full expression in the United States, and he died in the year 1852. So this was a brief brief introduction about Friedrich Froebel. Now, let's discuss what is Froebel philosophy. Why it is so significant that we are discussing here. Since the educational thought and practices developed by Froebel are based on his philosophy, so it is very much necessary to understand it before going to discuss Froebel's education system. Froebel's philosophy has been founded on sound psychological and scientific lines. It means Froebel's philosophy was psychological as well as scientific. His philosophy is based on his conviction of the ultimate oneness of life, of nature and spirit. Froebel articulated some idealist themes. First one, all existence originates in and with God. Secondly, human possesses an inherent spiritual essence that is the vitalizing life force that causes development. Third one, all beings and ideas are interconnected parts of a grand, ordered and systematic universe. Froebel based his work on these principles, asserting that each child at birth has an internal spiritual essence, a life force that seeks to be externalized through self-activity. The basic principles of the philosophy of Froebel may be discussed some heads, and I'll discuss here. The first one is law of unity. Froebel was a perfect theist and believer in the Almighty God, that I already mentioned that his philosophy was more relatable to the philosophy of idealism. God is regarded as all-powerful and creator of nature and man. According to him, everything animated from the Almighty, and therefore intrinsically there is unity. He categorized this unity into three types. Unity of substances refers to the premise that man and nature is made of one substance, such as spirit or soul, which animated the mode of life. Unity of origin means unity of things, nature, etc., for growth within one source, such as God. Unity of purpose refers to the principle that everything in this world, whether it be man or nature, tries to reach a divine perfection, which is nothing but God. It means God is everything, according to Froebel. Secondly, theory of spontaneous growth. Froebel was very much influenced by the thinking of Leibniz in his theory of spontaneous growth. Leibniz propounded the theory of organic growth, which says that the growth of a plant, animal, or a man takes place in an organic manner. Froebel propounded that in the same manner, proper development of the child can take place if like the plant, he is provided with good manner, which is nothing but education. Thirdly, place and importance of God according to Froebel. God formed the basis of the law of unity. He was a great believer in the power of God and its nature. So, these are the basic principles Froebel philosophy, that law of unity, theory of spontaneous growth, and place and importance of God. On the basis of such philosophical principles, philosophical ideas, Froebel has structured or given suggestion to form the education system. So let's discuss about Froebel's educational philosophy. Froebel's educational theory and practices was determined by his convictions of the ultimate oneness of life, the nature and spirit. The educational thoughts of Froebel were shaped by the German philosophical idealism that was marked by the work of Johann Gottfried Herder, Immanuel Kant, and Georg Wilhelm Hegel. The central theme in Froebel's educational work is mostly present in the education of man, which makes a unique attempt to provide an ontological explanation of the process of human learning. His educational principles are, first of all, the teaching of science to humanities. The religion should demonstrate that the development of nature reveals itself in the development of the individual mind. Then, education should be structured to harmonize with the natural inner development of the people. Then, education should unfold the whole man in each person. Another important thing is that religion should be taught in order to cultivate the emotions. Also, Froebel has said that nature should be studied because it is the self-revelation of God. Another point about Froebel's education that he has mentioned that mathematics should be appreciated as the symbol of universal order. Language connects man with the order and rhythm of things and should therefore take its part in education. The another important point that Froebel has stated, art should be taught as it is a general human talent and conducive to the harmonious unfolding of a person's inner life. So, these are some of the educational principles which is mentioned by the Friedrich Froebel, and on the basis of such principle he designed an educational environment which was based on these principles. Child development follows the doctrine of unfolding the Latin in the individual. According to him, knowing, feeling, and willing are three activities of mind, and they should be so balanced as to bring about development as a whole. Froebel also believed that mind is based on the law of unity. It means that all its faculties grow and work in a united manner. That is, home and the school should be interlinked, and there should be unity between various stages of the mental development and growth. Froebel pleaded for coordination between various activities of the mind and various aspects of the life of the child. He gave a vital place to play in the education system, and according to him, children are by nature attracted towards play because it incites their interest and brings a sense of joy to them. So, according to Froebel, education should be designed as to make the children feel that it is play not walk. Therefore, the foundation of the education system developed by Froebel is play, which is very much important because play at the childhood period is an instinctive tendency of the child, and play gives all-round development, the foundation of the all-round development of our children. Therefore, the foundation of the education system which is developed by Froebel is play. Now let's discuss Froebel's educational system. What was the Froebel's educational system? Froebel was very interested in early childhood education. He developed the famous kindergarten method, which we will discuss in the later period elaborately. Now only I am giving the concept. The kindergarten is a German word composed of two words, kinder and garten. Thus, the word kindergarten means garden of children. The child is said to be a garden, and the children are the plants of the garden. As the plants in the garden are allowed to grow freely under the care of the gardener, the children in kindergarten are allowed to grow freely under the care and guidance of the teacher. The kindergarten is a special educational environment in which self-active development occurs. The kindergartens give occupations and social and cultural activities, especially play, promote this self-actualization. In the school established by Froebel at Blankenburg, children used to play, jump, laugh, roam about, and do many acts freely. There were no restrictions regarding time. There were small gardens in the compound of the school, and the children used to do gardening themselves freely. The children were taught by the teachers in play. Children used to play together, think together, and express their views together. The activities used to teach the children in kindergarten include paper folding, mat weaving, clay modeling, symbolic games and action, songs which were used in a methodical and systematic procedure. So this was about a very brief note on kindergarten method by Froebel, and I will discuss it in our next discussion elaborately. Now let's discuss the aims of education according to Froebel. The aims of education are always based on the educational philosophy that was suggested by Froebel. According to him, education should bring about harmonious and proper development of the personality of the child and elevate him to a higher level so that he may be a useful member of the society. Education should be so organized that it should enable the child to know about his existence and start seeking his place in the human society. He doesn't separate nature from education, rather always keeps nature in the background and while imparting education. Froebel believed that the aim of education is to acquire knowledge of the eternal law of the unity of all things and to find one's place within this unity. The purpose of instruction is to bring more out of man rather than to put more and more into him. It is believed that human nature, like the Spirit of God, is ever unfolding its inner essence. The ultimate aim of his education system was to unlock a child's inner powers by linking his inner being with the fundamental forms around him. The aims of education, according to Froebel, may be summarized as self-realization. Every child has its own individuality. Each child grows in its own way. Self-realization may be described as an individual's development of nature and inclination towards right direction. Education should aim at self-realization of the child. Another point is that creativity, which is described by Froebel, each child has a tendency to make new forms and combinations which suggest the new ideas and images arising in him. Education should aim at providing children opportunities for self-expression. Encouraging the child when he is young increases the chances of developing creative patterns in the later years. Then another point is that cultivation of senses. According to the Froebel, true education should always cultivate our senses, especially hearing and vision. This also includes the cultivation of awareness, love, and independence. Considering facts as secondary, he gave more importance to development of perception for acquiring knowledge. Another point that Froebel has been mentioned that balanced development. So what is balanced development? Froebel advocated harmonious and balanced development of the child as the ultimate aim of education. According to him, the mind's power of prompting and nourishing of maintaining and directing its own activities must never be neglected. But he was comprehensive in considering mental development, which included knowing, feeling, and willing. Then we should discuss about the curriculum. What type of curriculum Froebel actually has suggested to fulfill all these aims and objectives of education according to him. Based on Froebel's belief on spontaneous growth of the child, certain principles are laid. About curriculum, what are the principles? First, importance of child. The curriculum should be based on the principles that child is the most important aspect in the whole education system. So the curriculum should be developed considering the inner tendencies and natural impulses of the child. Next one, self-activity. Self-activity is what? Froebel believed that the real growth and development of the child can take place through only self-activity. If children are left by themselves, they carry out certain activities and movements and their thoughts develop accordingly. The curriculum in Froebel's kindergarten included small stories told in songs. The children are taught to sing songs and those songs relate to some stories. And in this way, the children learn many things through the songs. Then the stories are told by means of various teachers. The teachers teaches the children how to make gestures, how to make postures, how to express the stories through gestures, etc. And further, the children are taught how to make the contrast things. And for this, the children are asked to draw sketches of fruits, birds, etc. And such way the children develop their faculties to attain knowledge. So Froebel developed a series of gifts and occupation in the kindergarten education. Froebel's gifts included 6 soft colored balls, wooden sphere, cube and cylinder, large cube divided into 8 smaller cubes, a large cube divided into 8 oblong blocks, a large cube divided into 21 whole, 6 half and 12 quarter cubes. So in this way, like sticks and outlining figures, whole and half wire rings of outlining figures. So these are used by the Froebel's in his kindergarten process, and that was included in the curriculum. Various materials for drawing, performing, embroidering, paper cutting, also these are were included in the curriculum system. What type of method of teaching that provided for such curriculum or for realize the aims and objectives by the Froebel? What were the method of teaching? Froebel's educational system is based on playway method. The gifts, occupation and mother's song and nursery songs are the educational materials used for play. As a series, the gifts began with the simple, undifferentiated sphere or circle and moved to more complex objects. Following the idealist principles of synthesis of opposites, Froebel's cylinders represented the integration of the sphere and the cube. The various cubes and their subdivisions were building blocks that children could use to create geometrical and architectural designs. Using the stick and the rings to track design on paper, children exercised the hand's small muscles, coordinated hand and eye movements, and took the first step toward drawing and later writing. On the basis of educational principles, Froebel emphasizes some method of teaching. First method of teaching was self-activity. Froebel believed that the child is born with some instinct and this instinct leads the child to be active. It means that children are active by nature. So method of teaching should involve this natural urge of children to do activities. Then next one, learning by playing. Froebel strongly advocated this method that by nature children like playing. So he laid a strong emphasis on teaching children through play. He says that play is the purest and most spiritual activity of children and it gives joy, contentment, rest and peace. The third method he has suggested that was social participation. According to Froebel, children can develop their self-activities only in the society. So he says that collective plays are necessary for the children. Collective games develop the feeling of cooperation, sympathy as well as oneness. Another method, that respect for the individual child. The teaching method used for the children should always consider the individual differences among them. The individuality of each child should be respected. Then, guided play. As Froebel advocated the freedom of the child, guided play is the methodology used to draw out the child's creative self-activity. That is, the child is given the freedom to play under the guidance of the teacher. Some important play which was involved by the Froebel kindergarten was amusement and constructive play, play developing imagination, play developing social feeling, plays building character, etc. Then another important aspects of education, discipline, how Froebel define it or what type of discipline Froebel has suggested. Froebel's concept of freedom and discipline is quite modern and up to date. He wanted to give an opportunity for self-expression so that they enjoy freedom. He believed more in inner discipline than the discipline being imposed. Repressionistic discipline. He pleaded for freedom in education so that self-activity could be possible. The inner tendencies of the child would develop only when there was freedom of the atmosphere. However, this freedom was to be governed by certain limitations also. Freedom he advocated was the freedom with responsibility. That is, a child will be allowed to enjoy freedom keeping in view of the freedom of his fellow children. So the outer discipline is visible only when there are inner discipline. So learners, in this way, Froebel has expressed his philosophical ideas in the field of education. What type of aims should be adopted by the education system? What type of curriculum should be adopted by the education system to realize his defined goals? And what type of methods of teaching should be actually implemented in the field of education to give the education in the early period of our life, and what type of discipline that has to be actually existed in the educational surrounding. In all the field, Froebel has given his philosophical ideas, and accordingly he has built his own school, that was kindergarten. So learners, in this video lecture This much I have discussed with you, and again in other video discussions we'll discuss about the kindergarten abruptly and also the critical perspective about Froebel's educational philosophy we will discuss. Till then, thank you so much.